Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to UncutAlly.
So stupid. I'm Chris. Welcome back.
You started it. He went over there.
You were there too.
I met you there. I didn't start over there.
Okay.
Anyway, we're doing Uncut Advice. Yay! Sorry we've been so gone. It's been like 3 episodes that we missed. Halloween happened. We just didn't have the time. And then I am finally not at my job anymore. Yay. I miss it.
I was gone.
But I'm not done yet.
Okay.
I miss it, but I'm excited to start and continue this new chapter. And then Chris left me. Oh my
god. Oh my god.
He went to an event for work.
And I'm back. Yeah.
He left physically. He did not leave me emotionally.
I'm back.
I like how at the same time we're both like, wait a minute.
My husband left me.
Yeah, but I know I say this every time, but we will get better at implementing a schedule and not having to miss things when life happens. But we're back, and we're back with Uncut Advice. It's been a while since we've done one. But before we even get into that, if you have not watched the last episode, which was the Batman Arkham Asylum finale, go watch it. And if you don't want to watch it, that's fine. But you still need to go to that video and comment under the pinned comment which of the 3 game options you would like to see as our next RPG or main game that we play. There's always one main game, and then we do like other party games and one-off games and stuff. We might be implementing 2 main games depending on if we can get VR working. If you are a fan who has paid attention, we have talked about the new Batman VR game. So if we can get that properly set up, we will have 2. But regardless of that, go vote. 1, vote if you live in the United States, as it's voting time. Go vote. 2, go vote under the last episode, the Batman Arkham Asylum finale. And please go do that. It would mean the world to me. Right now, only my mother has voted, and I think it's because and a lot of people watched the episode for a while too. I think it's just that it was towards the end after we talked about after we went through all the credits.
Yeah.
So I think just nobody got to that point. But please go comment under the pinned comment which of the 3 game options you would like to see us play next. Voting for that will end, let's say, Monday, 11:59 p.m. PST, so our time, or PDT, whatever the fuck it is.
PT.
Time changed today, so that's fun.
What?
Yeah.
It's gonna be sunnier for longer?
I mean, it's winter, so, but yeah. No. It went back.
I'm confused.
It went back an hour.
Oh, okay. So it's gonna be even darker?
Yeah, it's winter time, bitches. Anyway, please go vote. Back into Uncut Advice.
This is a juicy one?
It might be a sad one.
Oh, great.
Not like crying sad, but like that really sucks.
Okay.
3 rules that I always like to go over. I think these are our opinion. I feel like I get them wrong every time.
Different rules every time.
But that's okay. These are our opinions, and we would love to hear your opinions. We just ask that you remain respectful, and we will be respectful to you. We'd love to see discourse and your opinions differing or similar in the comments. We are only going off of whatever we have within the story. People can be talking about their perspective, and it's completely different on the other perspective. We have to take the story as it is. And any advice, there's a fine line between a toxic relationship and a relationship that just needs some help or is in a bad spot. So toxic and abusive relationships are separate from assuming that this is just a bad situation. Everybody has their own sort of difference in that, but there is a difference in that. I think that's what I usually do. Oh, and no disrespect to anybody unless they deserve to be disrespected. Then
which they always do.
Then fuck them.
They always do. Fuck everybody.
So impressive. Anyway, shall we get into the story?
It's the story, yeah.
Okay, so this was posted 12 hours ago.
I'm listening.
Why are you listening so close?
Oh, I want to hear it.
It's not going to be laughing after I read this title. How do I, 28 male, get my wife, 27 female, to understand how I feel without destroying our marriage? Chris and I are married. You can't tell because neither of us are wearing our ring today. But that's okay.
Marriage.
English is not my first language, so bear with me. Account for privacy, even though I feel like with this much information, someone might still recognize me. Feels wrong to even write this out, but I can't talk about this with anyone in my life, and I'm really struggling. Some background. My wife and I got together right before COVID hit, which led us to move in together faster than I think we normally would have. A little over a year later, we got married. Oh, wow. We were both students at the time, although both of us were working part-time as well. Since then, I've gotten my degree and started working full-time, while she's still a student and will be for at least a few years after switching her major a couple of times.
Oof.
She had multiple pets when we got together, and I knew how much they meant to her. Even though I'm not really a pet person, I love animals, I just prefer to not have pets myself. Valid. I got into the relationship and moved in with the knowledge that those pets would become my responsibility also, and I actually really do love them. I also realized very early into the relationship that she has ADHD, which she has since been diagnosed with. This has led to her being sometimes impulsive and irrational and irresponsible with money, but never enough for us to not be able to pay our rent or bills, even though she has occasionally borrowed money from her parent.
Well, that defeats the purpose.
What?
If you're good with money, but you had to borrow money from your parents, that means you weren't good with money.
That's not true.
I don't know.
Well, I'm not done yet. Partly because of her ADHD and partly because of the pets, she has never been able to keep her own or our apartment tidy. Current situation. Since I've started working full-time, I'm making almost four times more money than her. We both agreed that it would be insane for us to continue splitting the cost of living 50-50, so I pay our rent and the car, plus half the bills and groceries. Hi, Kenyon. Ow. Sorry, Ken's claw dug into me.
Clawed.
I'm happy to take on more of the financial burden so she doesn't have to worry about working more hours while studying. But lately it feels like her spending has gotten more irresponsible, and she has had to ask me for money to pay some bills, and I've also began to pay for all of the groceries. At the same time, she has gotten several new tattoos and traveled multiple times to visit her friends. Meanwhile, I'm always completely broke before my next payday. I'm also 90% responsible for all of the chores around the apartment, including taking care of the pets. I clean, I do the laundry, I load and unload the dishwasher, and take out the trash. Cooking is split maybe 60-40, with my wife doing the most of that, but even then, most of the time I have to figure out what we're having. Sorry, my nose is running. I've begged her to pick up some of the chores, but she always either says she'll get to it later and then forgets, or she'll just straight up claim that she doesn't know how to do it well enough.
Oh boy.
My wife is also really busy, as on top of her working part-time and studying full-time, she has multiple hobbies. These hobbies usually take place in the late evening, and she works in the mornings, so she's home maybe a couple of hours in the afternoon/early evening most days. I like to go to the gym straight after work because my gym is on the way home, and this way it's easier to stay consistent. However, my wife often guilts me into coming home before I go because she says it's the only time we have time to spend together. It's the only time we have time to spend together. Got it. Can you get me a tissue? Sorry to derail this.
Tissue.
True uncut. Now you can see some of our things in the back.
Achoo.
My nose is running.
I was looking at Canyon. One of his eyes is watering, I think. But I watched him blink and his water spewed out of his eye. Just now.
Just so you know, our hampers to my left.
And Canyon's
And
there.
we have a bunch of towels here. So Canyon is there. Oh yeah, he's a little goopy, Mr. Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, continuing on, sorry. The only time we have to spend time together. More often than not, I come home and she's taking a nap, and I can't get her to wake up before she has to leave. Lately, I've been in a position to be able to pick up some extra work, and I've thought, what the hell? She's busy anyway, and we could use the extra money. This has led to arguments about me not wanting to spend time with her, and it escalates to her crying and me having to apologize if I point out that she's away from home a lot more than me. Problem/question. I'm so tired. I love my wife so much, but I feel like I'm becoming bitter. Sometimes I don't feel like going home after work since I know the apartment's going to be a mess and I'm already overwhelmed from work. I've tried to talk to her about all of this except money, but I'm also not in the mood to argue since it always turns out to be me apologizing. Is there any way to save us? And how could I make her understand my point of view? I don't want to change her as a person, and I don't mind her having hobbies and passions, but I feel like our life completely revolves around her wants and needs. I do love her. Ew. Sorry, not ill to this. Canyon shook his head and he spit everywhere. I do love her, and I know she loves me, but sometimes I feel like she only keeps me around as a pet sitter and a maid.
Ooh.
Too long didn't read. I feel like our marriage revolves only around my wife's wants and needs, and the distribution of labor, time, and finances feels unfair. What can I do to make my wife see my point without destroying my marriage or making her feel like I'm trying to change her? Sorry.
This one's really tearing you up, huh?
Shut up.
Making you sad.
Shut up.
This one's, as multifaceted, right? Many layers to this one.
I want to get back to your comment of saying somebody's bad with money if they have to borrow money from their parents.
It felt like a red flag. Like, it felt like it was a hint at something later, and I was correct.
Yes. However, I don't think that's the case. I think the circumstances differ,
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
it like, hey, I just got scammed out of $3,000. Hey, Mom, can I borrow a grand to get by with my bills? And then you're fine the next month?
You're completely right. It depends a lot.
That's a read. Can you? No. Chris got scammed out of $3,000.
I've been scammed.
That's a whole other story. I don't even know what episode we talked about it, but we talked about it.
We talked about it at some point.
The TLDR, don't believe people in a Home Depot parking lot who say they're going to fix your car.
Yeah, I think most people, that's how they get their car work done.
Well, you took a risk, didn't you?
Yep.
And it did not pay off.
Yep.
This car is the exact same.
So, yeah, multifaceted.
But I was just saying, like, that, I think the circumstances, it's not immediately bad to borrow money from your parents. Especially, like, if they're so much wealthier than you, or, like, it's more of a one-off thing,
Yeah.
Like, if there's a reason to it, that's one thing. But
Sure.
is it, like, consistent? Are you not supposed to? Like, I think there's nothing wrong with if you have privileges like that.
Yeah.
Why not take advantage of it?
Yeah.
But also, like, if you're supposed to be doing things on your own, or, like, your parents don't have that money, or it's like, all right, this is the last time I'm doing this. Like, is it enabling you, or is it, like, a gift, or is it something that's been agreed upon? Like, that's why when you said, like, that's bad, I'm like, it's not always. It's not immediately bad.
But if with more context, if she's spending money on travel and tattoos and things, and then doesn't have enough money to pay her bills, and then asked her parents to help pay her bills,
then it's enabling.
Bad.
Then it's enabling a life, like, she's living a lifestyle that she cannot afford then.
Yeah.
And then it's like you're mooching off your parents rather than, like, they're offering you this. Like, it's so circumstantial.
Yeah, of course.
I just didn't like how you were immediately like, oh, no.
I just felt like it would come up later, and I was right.
Yes. I just want to get that out of the way, because I was like, there's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with borrowing money
from
no
family. Or
fine.
like, if your parents are like, hey, do you need any help with bills? And you're like, actually, I'm like $50 short. Like, that's one thing. But it's
yeah, sure.
Also, like, how much money is it? Like,
yeah,
are you $50 short, or are you like $5,000 short? And you're like, money, please.
Yeah, this one's interesting because it's, it's the chores, it's the money thing, it's the fact that they still travel and, like, do a bunch of different things. I think the worst part is just their attitude towards talking about it. It seems like they're not...
Both of them?
I think both of them. I think they're just, like, they're both probably growing bitter at each other, and that's always tough because you don't... It's not necessarily extremely easy to just be like, don't get bitter at me this time, like when you're having a conversation, if it's built up over months and months. So it gets difficult.
Yeah, and, full transparency, like, Chris pays our rent and pays our bills. Like, that is something that we've discussed and, like, has been 99% of the time that way. There have been times where I've, like, contributed a little bit, or will contribute in other ways. Like, I'll pay for more going out things or groceries and stuff. Mm-hmm. But, like, right now, like, I am jobless. So Chris is like, I'm fine taking, like, the brunt of everything. But that's the issue that they have. They're not talking about it. Like, it seems like he fell into becoming the breadwinner, or the only financial person, yes, they had that initial conversation of, like, hey, it does, like, I make 4 times as much as you. It doesn't make sense for you to pay rent, which is similar to the conversation we've had.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, that's a good start.
Yeah, like, it shows that they have the capacity to actually talk to each other about these financial hard things.
Yeah.
However, that's where it stopped, and that can't be where it stops. Like, okay, I'm taking over 4 like, I'm paying all of the rent and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What are your finances going to? So, like, for us, it's like, you have student loans, Allie. Like, you focus on that. That's your issue.
Yeah.
But I'm fine making...
Sure issue out.
Shut the fuck up. But, like, I'm fine taking over our living expenses, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a partnership. You have to decide because there wasn't that conversation of, like, okay, and now you're getting, like, tattoos are expensive. Like, now you're getting tattoos? I love
going
tattoos.
on trips.
If it was up to me, I would be fully tatted by now. But that's an insane amount of money. Like, I try to do, like, at least one tattoo a year, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, they're fairly small tattoos, like under $500, you know? Like, something that's within my range.
Yeah.
And, you know, and trips are so expensive.
So expensive.
And it sounds like she's going on the trips. It's not even like,
not like
hey,
a couple trip.
We're going on a trip.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, babe, like, I'm fine paying the majority of the trip. It's like, now he's paying for her to go on trips.
I think she just keeps, like, taking whatever she can. Like, she keeps, like, she's like, oh, I didn't do this chore this time. Guess he's going to do it forever now. She might not be thinking of it that way, but that's, like, what's happening. Like, every day that goes by, she's, like, paying less money, having less responsibility to her own pets that she brought in the relationship.
I mean, but they're married. Like, those are his pets now, too.
Sure, but, like, it seems like she's not even, like, doing half, or, you know, it's like the balance is getting out of whack. And, of course, this is his side of the story. Who knows how she's doing mental health wise or whatever wise. She might be having a tough time. But regardless, she's not being vocal about it if that is the case, you know? Because sometimes it helps you feel less resentful if you're like, oh, man, she's, like, really depressed, or, you know, she's having a tough time, she needs help around the house for now, you know, versus, like, I don't really care, you know.
Yeah, like, it's unclear her side, of course, but it's also unclear of what, like, he said that he doesn't feel comfortable talking to her because it ends up with him apologizing and her crying, which, like, could be two things. Good. It could either be, one, she's having a really tough time and, like, she feels that she's, like, a burden and, like, it's getting to her and she can't talk about it.
Right.
Or it could be manipulative, you know? It could be a tactic of, like, switching everything around back on him, that it's like, no, you're the one to blame for me doing things wrong in this relationship. Right. So it's just tough to know which side of things her intentions lie on, you know? Yeah. This is a hard one.
It is hard. I mean, they just need to try to have the conversations. If they're not working out and they both, like, mutually are like, dang, we're in different parts of life or whatever, that's one thing. But I feel like, as with anything, trying to have open, honest communication and discuss it. And I just try to go about it in a very delicate way, not just, like, blowing up. Because I'm sure, like, he kind of, who knows, but I get the vibe that he's like, God damn it, I'm doing all the fucking chores, and, like,
you think it's like a boiling point, rather than like,
I don't think he's like,
can we
hey,
talk?
Babe, let's talk. Like,
I mean, I don't know.
Who knows? But that's a possibility, and that could make it way more difficult to have a balanced conversation, right?
Just the way that he typed, it was very calm and very, like, I love my wife, but I'm at my wit's end. So that makes me feel like he is trying to have a conversation.
She's just
Kai is behind
us.
If you hear any rumblings, Kai's behind us doing her Kaya thing.
Yeah.
Can you sleeping on my leg? He's a good boy. Anyway, it's tough to know how they're talking about it, but it's clear they're not having fully open and honest communication about it. Right. Because if he's feeling like he is taking the brunt of everything and unable to talk to her, like, of course he's going to grow resentful. Like, there's no way you wouldn't. Like, even still, like, I make less money and I still go to Chris and I'm like, is it okay that this is our setup? And he's like, yes, obviously. Yeah. But, like, I still have those check-in points with him. Like,
it's good to check in.
I have such an anxiety about being a burden on people, and Chris does a really great job of making sure I don't feel that way. But I also, like, take my responsibility of it and, like, check in with him and make sure that, like, financially we're good. He doesn't feel like he's taking everything over. Yeah. And, like, we still have a fairly even distribution of chores and cooking and stuff. But like I said, like now that I don't have a job, like I want to take on more of that. Like I want to do more of the like chores that we don't see, like actually going through some of our boxes and like consolidating things. And I also like want to cook more because I'll be home more and I have more energy. But like that's a conversation that we had. And that's something that they're missing. It's just that conversation of expectations from both people. It seems like, I'm hoping it's just that she does not understand or know that these are what his, like that he feels like he's burdening everything or carrying everything. And then, what?
She's digging under the door.
Okay.
Stop it.
Or I hope that it's that she just doesn't understand it or doesn't know. But the reality is it could be that she knows or has heard him and just doesn't listen. Yeah. Doesn't want to listen.
Right.
Because she's kind of out there living her life. Like, I get it.
Yeah, I was going to say from her perspective, it's easy to be like, get used to like living the good life. Like not having to do chores. Everything's done for you. Everything's paid for. I mean, obviously you'd probably want to, you know, somewhere deep in your brain you'd get used to it, perhaps, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if it started, there's a reason it started. Like, I think that's something that never started with us, but we are in a similar situation of like one person taking the brunt of the financials, you know? But like it never started to become a resentful thing because we have had this open, honest communication. Yeah. So I just wonder, like, is this the only issue you guys are having? Are there other things that you guys are just not communicating about? It usually doesn't start and stop at one issue if it's a communication issue.
And that it definitely feels like that because it's not just money, it's also chores. Like it's one thing if it's one isolated column, but it's like every aspect of the relationship there's issues that are building up over time, you know? Yeah. So
sorry, I just realized you're wearing a Pied Piper shirt. So we're saying all this like serious relationship shit. Yeah. Well, just there's a guy blowing a flute.
Yeah. I know.
What the fuck's wrong with the Joker?
He's a clown.
I like how our greens match up though.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
sorry. We are both very ADHD brain today. Yeah. And that's another thing that he had brought up, that she has ADHD. And
it's not an excuse, though.
It's not an excuse, but, like, knowing you and your ADHD, she might genuinely just forget.
Yeah, that's true. If you ask me to do something, I would probably forget it.
She's anything like my husband.
Yeah, I will forget
She might just forget. Like, Chris was walking out the door to get this camera, and I physically handed him the pizza boxes that have been on the oven for him to take out all week. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to, like... Yeah. Physically drag somebody to the chore they need to do. So maybe that's another conversation to have of like, how does ADHD affect her? How does her ADHD brain work? And how can you make chores something that are more friendly to her ADHD brain? Something that's more of a reminder, more in front of her face. Like, okay, like I am fine doing like the smaller, like I'll clean down the cabinets, I'll do the toilet, I'll do the sinks, whatever. But like, maybe you can tidy up, maybe... Or, like, at least, like, taking care of pets and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's hard because, like, they both are busy people, too. Yeah. It's even, like, further from our situation where it's, like, one person's home all the time. Like, they're both very busy people. Right. And I love that he respects that she should still have passions and hobbies even when she's working. Seems like a nice guy. And studying. Like, of course, she should do other things. Like, I'm not expecting her to
travel. People want to travel.
Yeah, or, like, he's like, I'm not expecting her to just be home during the time that she's not there. Right. But then even if you're having all of these things, like you need to budget time within these things to get shit done still. Yeah. So I think that this is kind of in like 3 parts, this one. It's the one issue of like they can't talk about these things. Yeah. Then there's the financial aspect of it. And then there's, like, the delegation of tasks, I'd say. Mm-hmm. And in all 3 of these, like, obviously communication is the big issue. But he is taking the brunt of all of them. He is trying to communicate with her about his needs and how they can switch. He's the one who's doing all the financial things, and she's still living her best life financially. Like, and the thing is, he's supporting of that, which is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you need to be realistic with your passions and hobbies and, like, your free time.
Yeah.
I am a gal who hates missing out on events and stuff. I love adventures. I don't want to miss out on life. But I'm also not like, let's take a fucking $10,000 vacation, you know?
Sometimes I say that.
Yeah,
as a joke.
But I'm like, you're the one paying. I don't give a fuck. And then, like, in the third column, now he's doing all of the chores, all of the work at home.
Right.
He has a full-time job as well.
Yeah.
She has a full-time student life as well as a part-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is he able to do his passions and hobbies? Like, there needs to be
Maybe
some
not.
compromise in there of, like, hey, let's say I love tennis and, I don't know, chess. Just pulled two fucking things out. Maybe I'll only go to tennis on Mondays instead of Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays so that you can go play pickleball on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, there needs to be some delegation of things. There needs to be some compromise of things in all of these categories. Like, in the financial things, in the household things. Like, I think he just needs to sit her down and have a genuine, like, we need to hash this out.
Yeah.
And just be honest with her. Like, he's scared that he's going to ruin his marriage, and that makes me worried.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're scared to talk to your partner about an issue, that is, to me, the biggest red flag. There has never been an issue that, like, sometimes I'll be nervous, but, like, not in a, like...
not like, oh, fuck, he's gonna...
Yeah, like, not in a he's gonna leave me way, but more in a, like... I have no idea how he's gonna react to something, like, and it's been years since I've felt that way, you know?
Yeah.
And I hope same for you.
No, I can't even think of a time.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of, like, two, maybe.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't know how he's gonna take this.
But here's the other thing, though, is he also said he's, like, taking on additional work because, like, he needs to make more money, which was wild. So I feel like that's something we haven't even brought up. But that's another thing where, like, they should have had a discussion because now she's pissed at him for, like, not being home as much.
Yeah.
But, like, he's trying to fund her damn lifestyle. But, like, they didn't even talk about whether he should take this other job or not. So it's just, like, that's a whole mess to me. That's the biggest mess.
That should have been another conversation. But on the flip side of that, did she talk to him about gaining another passion, another hobby, another tattoo? Like, you know, has she communicated with him about the things that she's adding on to her life?
Right.
Because the things he's adding on is supposed to benefit both of them. Whereas, like, most of the things I feel like she's adding on are mainly benefiting her. Yeah. Which is not an issue. Like, it's your life. You have every right to do that. Mm-hmm. But he's respecting that, and it's just, like, not... There's no cross-respect on that, you know?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So, I feel like you two have a lot of communication issues that you really need to work on and, like, make an effort to handle. I think starting off just discussing things, the way he wrote it was very respectful. I think coming at it that way of just like, I love you, I respect what you're doing, I want you to enjoy your life, but like we're also a partnership and I am getting the short end of the stick in this partnership right now. And just say like, I'm doing all of these things. And I think a special thing, like for me, I think we've maybe had a conversation about financials once, and I get very anxious about becoming a burden for somebody financially. So I think it's also important to not play like a tit for tat. Like, for every dollar I spend, you have to do X chores. Like it's never going to be even. Yeah. Relationships are not even. Like, a partnership is never going to be even. It's that you evenly are available to take the brunt of it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes relationships are 90-10, you know? Like, shit fucking happens, my dude.
Yeah, shit happens.
But it's just that when the roles are reversed, there's going to be another 90-10, and that's how it evens out. And that you're both willing to take the brunt of it, and you're both willing to support the other person when they need you to take the brunt of it. So, I think just having that conversation of, like, I'm not asking you to do anything. Like, it's not like you owe me for paying for our lives. It's more like, this is our lives together, and the distribution of it is wrong.
I like that. It's a good way to go about it.
Because it can easily become like I have to
you do
pay
this.
you back.
Yeah.
I used to do this. I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. No, and I think No, you haven't in a while. And I think if it's difficult to do that yourselves, like, this is probably like a marriage counselor moment if it's
Yeah.
very tough, if it always escalates, even when you come at it with good intentions, you might need a impartial third party just to help guide a conversation.
I agree. Like, this is something that I think is fully... Nobody is clearly being toxic to the other. I think after this conversation is really when it'll show she's willing to put in the work, she just needed a kick in the ass, or like her eyes opened, or she knew that all of this was happening and liked it how it was. Like that, only after this conversation will you know if your wife is vindictive, or if she just has ADHD brain, she's going through some shit, or like she's just a little dumb, you know? And that's okay.
Yeah.
Chris gets a little dumb sometimes.
A little stupid. So are you.
I know. But, like, I think this conversation needs to happen. The way you wrote it out is perfect. Just saying there's an unequal, just an unfair distribution of the things in the marriage that are hard. Finances, chores, who's enjoying their lives and who's not, you know?
Oof.
So just sitting down and having that open and honest conversation and giving each other the time to listen and to talk. And if you can't do it, if it keeps escalating, having that impartial third party, that's a really good idea. Just like, sometimes it's needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we ever need, but like we've gone through so much shit. And that's one thing we've kind of always had was like a very good communication line. And some couples need to work on that more than other couples do. And that's okay. The thing is that you're both willing to work on it and build it and grow it into something that's good for both of you. So that's my advice. Have the conversation the way that you've written it out. I think
you got this.
Yeah, I think you seem like a very respectful husband and somebody who really loves his wife. Just remember that in going into this conversation that like you are on the same team. You just, you know, one of you has been on the bench for a little too long. And you need to both be at play for this.
Yeah.
And just asking for her to take over some things and making sure that she doesn't feel attacked or that, like, she owes you for anything. It's more of a, like, we are a partnership. We both have to put work into this. And I'm, you know, if you're still fine taking the financial brunt, just be like, I'm fine paying for the bills. But I also, you know, I don't want to lend you money as well as paying for the bills when you're making your own money. Like, how can we better get you to live within your means?
Yeah. How
can we better financial plan for you? Because I'm like, I don't know her life, but I'd hope she doesn't like being a burden on you. And like if Chris came to me and was like, I'm fine taking care of the finances, but like I need you to pick up some slack around the house a little bit more, I'd be like, okay, sure. You know, like I get it. But I also feel like I like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want that to be an issue because I appreciate him. And I also don't feel like he'd be doing it because I owe him. It's more like, I just don't have the time because I am the one with the full-time job. You have more time than me. Could you do these things, you know?
Yeah.
Coming at it from that rather than like a payment for you paying or, you know?
Yeah.
Not as a tit for tat, but more of a distribution.
I like it. It's a good way to think of it.
Yeah. So just have that conversation, and after that conversation, that's when you'll know the next course of action. If you're, he said, can my relationship be saved? You're fine, you know? Like, I think if you're able to have this conversation, one, and then two, the outcome of this conversation is really going to determine her intentions and what the next steps would look like. So it's hard to say like what to do after that. It really just depends. Is she open to it? Is something happening? Like, then work through it. Work on it. Make sure that she's working on her shit. Try and assist her in getting better at finances. It's clear you're better at it than her, you know? Like, helping her in that way. But also, if she's resistant to it, why is she resistant to it? If she says she's going to change, then nothing changes. Or, like, she gets very defensive about things. Why is she getting defensive? Kind of exploring whatever her reaction is or whatever her reasoning is.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say because I don't know. That's just between y'all. But having this conversation is step one, and just being as supportive and calm within it, I think, is the best way. And just being honest. Like, if she does start getting emotional and trying to get you to be the bad guy, just say, Why? We started this by me being honest with you. Why is this the reaction? Just be upfront, be blunt. Ask those questions while it's happening. Make her think, or make her explain why she's getting defensive when you two are married. Like, you two should be a unit together.
Right.
This is an issue you're going at together, not an issue you're going after her on.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I feel like I said the same thing like 15 times.
Yeah, I mean, you made it super clear for what they should do, which is good.
I get in cycles sometimes where I feel like I didn't say something clear enough, and then I say it a different way, and I'm like, that wasn't clear either, and then I say it another way, and I'm like, all of those ways were almost the exact same.
I think it was very clear. I think you did great.
One sentence, just communicate it, and go from there. Just communicate it.
Yeah, I love it.
What do you have to say, Christopher?
No, I already feel like I said everything I needed to say. You know?
Any last thoughts or?
I mean,
things
they'll
to
be
mention?
fine. They'll be fine. I think they're gonna end up needing marriage counseling, based on the way she's been reacting in the past, which is totally fine. If you need a third party.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know if the way she's been reacting is totally fine.
No.
Yeah, I got you.
It's okay to ask for help.
It's okay to ask for help, always. If it's something worth fighting for, and you both agree that this is the method to go about it, like, it's totally fine to seek a third party.
Totally.
But I also think, like, you should be learning from that third party so that you don't have to be always relying on them. Unless it's a therapist. Like, it's totally fine to see a therapist regularly. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just keeps you in check.
Yeah, learn
but,
methods.
Like, going to other people, make sure that you're actually growing and learning from it and not going back with the same issues. Because then it's like, you're not, one or both of you is not putting in the work. What are we doing here? If you're not willing to put in the work for your relationship when there are issues, then it seems like it's probably not a relationship to be had by either of you.
Yeah. That's well said. Another one in the books.
Yeah, my butt fell asleep. I was at such an angle. Oh. Any last closing remarks?
No, that's a good one though. I like that one.
I think it seems like a really nice guy, and I hope she's a nice girl who's just either going through some shit or like doesn't see, because sometimes you don't see the gravity of like what you're doing. If your partner's not being honest with you, like when Chris and I broke up all those many years ago, fun fact, he didn't talk to me that we were having as big, like, I thought we were having one-off issues, and they were racking up in his brain.
Right.
I'm not, like, I'm still responsible for having those one-off issues be a thing, but he's responsible for not communicating with me to even try to get better, you know?
Yeah.
But we ended up stronger because of it, you know? Like, we both claimed our shit, we both worked on ourselves and our relationship, and, you know, I wouldn't want to be with anybody else.
Oh, me neither. That's so sweet.
In like in the way that we're together, you know, like I wouldn't trade him for the world. That's the world. What I want to.
Yeah.
Words I wanted to use, like mumbled.
Wouldn't trade you either. Yeah.
But like it took so much hard work to get there, but we did it because it was worth it to us, and we were missing that communication. We fixed that communication. We've had that communication.
Yeah.
You guys might just need a fix in your communication. Maybe this is the first issue of this kind, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Really just start communicating, start finding ways to communicate, find what works for you guys to have that open and honest communication where even if somebody gets defensive, they just take a second and come back, and then you can constructively go through it, you know?
Yeah.
So it takes time, but you have to be willing to put it in the work for it.
Totally.
I believe in y'all. I think you can do it.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Again, I don't know her intentions, but I'm leaning on the side of she might just have ADHD brain or like is going through some shit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say nobody's toxic in here. Fuck nobody in this scenario. They need some open and honest communication on both sides and check-in points and making sure that the other person's happy, and
yeah, I love it.
I think y'all will be okay if you're willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But first step, conversation, and go from there.
Yeah.
All right. I'm tired now. Our cats are looking out the window.
They're so cute.
Kai looks like melted butter. You know when like a cat lays down and they just kind of like out, you know, and they look like they're melting. I love it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Go vote. Both in the election if you can, and on our last episode on the Batman Arkham Asylum finale.
Yeah.
I will even link it in the description.
Wow, good for you.
The thumbnails that come up now-ish, I think one of them is last episode. You can just click on it from there. If you don't want to watch it, I'd highly recommend watching it. It's a fun episode. But if you don't want to watch it, at the very least, comment in the pinned comment which of the 3 options you would like for us to play next. Please vote by end of Monday.
Yeah.
Kenny wants to jump from our bed to Chris's lap.
Oh boy.
And that's a big jump. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great day and a happy birthday. Happy belated Halloween. Love you. Bye.
Halloween. Bye, everybody.